In the Beginning by Dr. Walt Brown, available at creationsciencecenter.org. You can see this flip book, and we are on page 242, looking at Imperial sand dunes. California's Imperial sand dunes is one of the largest dune complexes in North America, covering 200 square miles and containing about 2.5 cubic miles of sand. It extends 45 miles up the Imperial Valley between Yuma, Arizona, and the Salton Sea. In his geology textbook, Richard Flint estimates that that wind slowly blew all that sand in over at least 160,000 years. He does not identify the source of the sand, why wind concentrated it there, or why little dirt was blown in. Others say that the Colorado River fed an extinct lake they call Lake Kaweah and provided the sand. However, lakes rarely have the energy to break up rock to produce so much sand, but they do produce mud and clay that are largely missing from the dunes. Here's my explanation. The sudden breaching of Grand and Hopi lakes carved the Grand Canyon and gave birth to the Colorado River. A few thousand cubic miles of sand and other sediments were transported south along the Arizona-California border, the path now occupied by the Colorado River. That surge far into the Gulf of California also flooded the long Imperial Valley that extends southwest of Yuma. Sediment-laden water quickly filled that valley. Because its entire length is about 700 feet lower than the Colorado River as it exits the Grand Canyon, and much of the valley is below today's sea level, within the turbid floodwaters, sand, as opposed to mud and clay, would have quickly settled out. See endnote 6 to recall how gritty the Colorado River was. After the crest of the flooding Colorado River passed the southeast end of the Imperial Valley, most of the valley's waters would have drained back into the Colorado River and ultimately into the Gulf of California. Left behind in the valley were large volumes of sand and the Salton Sea, whose surface today is about 220 feet below sea level. Prediction 15. A chemical and isotope analysis of the sand dunes will show the sand came from the Grand Canyon. Mud settles slowly out of standing water. Because little mud lies in the sand dunes area, the valley was probably filled with gritty water only briefly. This is consistent with the few weeks I estimate it took to carve out most of Grand Canyon. Since the flooding, winds concentrated the sands a few miles to the east along the western side of the Coachco Mountains, which parallel the Imperial Valley and act as a barrier to the prevailing winds blowing sand eastward. In the beginning, the sand dunes. Let's read about them. Satellite view of Imperial Dunes. California, Mexico. I-8 and All-American Canal. Sand dune. I-8 All-American Canal. California's Imperial Sand Dunes, also called the Algodones sand dunes, the peaks of which can reach 300 feet above the desert floor. Where did all this clean, pure sand, 2.5 cubic miles worth, come from? Why is it here in a 45-mile long and 5-mile wide valley? In the Beginning by Dr. Walt Brown, Flip book available at creationsciencecenter.org.